Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be ranking the Hashira. Not based on their PvP prowess, so how good any of them would be at winning any given one-on-one fight, but rather their overall usefulness in any given fight. That means that Hashira who have more support-based abilities will get a bump in strength compared to those who are only good at one-on-one combat. Of course, combat prowess is going to be a huge factor in determining their rankings, but it's just not going to be the only factor that goes into it. Demon Slayers often hunt in teams or with allies, so this list is going to try and take that into account. Oh yeah, and spoilers to every part of every Demon Slayer manga page ever. All of them. Number 9, Mitsuri. Now, this girl is a monster. She went toe-to-toe with Upper Moon 4 for a prolonged period of time, facing off against one of his clones that held the greatest amount of his strength, and sustained almost no damage the entire fight. Well, one initial good shot that honestly would have KO'd most people immediately, but she was able to power through and keep fighting. She has a unique musculature which gives her 8 times the strength that she appears to have, and she doesn't appear scrawny or weak to begin with. A punch from one of her would hurt. A punch from her with 8 times strength is just killer. She wields a bizarre custom-made sword that's able to bend and move like a whip, meaning she can attack at range and at all angles. She has absurd flexibility, allowing her to easily dodge and maneuver in ways that other people just can't. And if her abilities weren't crazy enough to begin with, she's awakened a Demon Slayer mark, meaning her strength, speed, and endurance are all boosted to inhuman levels, even for a Demon Slayer. Even for a Hashira. Mitsuri may just be the second physically strongest out of all of the Hashira and one of the most dangerous to take on in single combat. However, this list is for strength, not overall PvP ability, and while her powers and abilities are fantastic, they only leave themselves to really one thing, and that's 1v1 brawling. Whereas the other characters on this list placed higher have a number of abilities that allow them to excel in a number of different categories and just provide more benefit on the battlefield. The Demon Slayer mark, while incredibly useful, only provides her a boost to strength, speed, and endurance, attributes she already had in spades, and don't really cover any of her weaknesses. If she had awakened the other 2 abilities that came along with that mark, the ability to see the transparent world and the ability to use a crimson blade, then it would have provided her a significant boost in power. The ability to see the transparent world especially. As a sensory ability, it would have allowed her to make pinpoint attacks on her opponent, a power she could have capitalized on given her extreme flexibility and bizarre sword. However, she never awakened the ability, leaving her down at number 9. How is there still so much to go? How are there 8 more pillars? Alright, let's get through this. We gotta do it fast. Now, number 8. Here we have the sound pillar, Tangen Uzui. Now, in a straight-on fight, there's absolutely no chance that he would have any hope of defeating Mitsuri. However, he does come with a few other useful support abilities that make him overall more useful to have in any given fight. As a pillar of the Hashira, he has incredible speed, strength, and endurance, however has been shown to be far less capable than the other Hashira, having taken on the lowest of the upper moons and still having struggled immensely against him even with the help of Nezuko, Lightning Boy, Nezuko, Inosuke, and Tanjiro, having to literally give up an arm and a leg just to get an opening against him. Arm and an eye. Whereas some of the other pillars higher on this list were able to take out even stronger upper moons on their own, with less injuries. What really puts him above Mitsuri, though, is that he's been raised and trained as a shinobi, giving him a wide number of stealth and information gathering abilities. Before confronting Upper Moon 6, he has been shown to gather intel, sending an agent undercover to retrieve more information and form a battle plan. Now, he was never shown to be a brilliant strategist, but the fact that he has an arsenal of wives who are all trained in shinobi arts, as well as he himself can maneuver stealthily, and has the sense of mind to plan ahead, gather information, and come up with a plan, means that his presence in any given group would greatly bolster their abilities, as this information and planning ability is something you don't actually see very often with a number of the Hashira, who more charge in and beat things down with their crazy physical abilities. Hey, if it works. He fills a niche and adds something to the composition of the Demon Slayers that's normally lacking, making him one of the more effective Hashira to have along. Even if the other ones above him will outclass his cunning and intelligence gathering with sheer brute force, but there's only so much you can do. Number 7. The insect pillar of the Hashira, Shinobu Kocho. Shinobu Kocho. Nailed it. Now, this girl is just an absolute monster, and the main reason the list is structured as it is, as the original list for just PvP skill didn't really take into account how useful she could be and how powerful of a demon slayer she was. She doesn't have the physical strength to cut off a demon's head. Despite this, she has one of the most impressive track records of any demon slayer. She has engineered poisons that have been able to kill demons in 1 or 2 hits. She was able to engineer a poison with Tamayo's help, which was able to take down Muzan, or at least severely cripple him to the extent that he actually could be taken down. She's talented enough to be able to cure the poisons manufactured by demon blood arts, and shown what happened in the Forest of Spider People. She's a proficient healer, leader, poisoner, was said by Demon Moon 2 to have the highest speed of any Hashira that he's ever encountered, and she was able to reduce his strength to the point where 2 non-pillar demon slayers were able to kill him relatively easily. True, that tactic cost her life, but there was nothing that was stopping her from having anyone else ingest Westenra poison and then get eaten. The fact that it was her who sacrificed herself was simply because she was a nice person to begin with, and wouldn't ask anyone else to do something like that. She may have possibly the most utility out of any demon slayer in the entire group, just out of what she brings to the organization, via training medics, creating poisons, and creating antidotes to keep other demon slayers alive. I'm not willing to put her above some of the other higher Hashira, who just have more destructive output, more sustainability on short notice, who don't need to prepare poisons or antidotes ahead of time. After all, she's only at her max use when she has prep time, and someone has to be able to buy it for her. But I will not understate just what a monster of a person this girl is. Kind, psychotic, vengeful, powerful. She's number 7. Number 6. Yeah, I put Giyu at number 6. What are you gonna do about it? It's my video. Put him where I like. No, it's low. Competition was harsh. Not that he's weak, far from it. Giyu's fighting style has very few flaws in it, and is one of the strongest swordsmen in the world. Lull is an ingenious technique and provides him with incredible defensive abilities. His mark has been able to summon a red blade. He's never been able to view the transparent world, which keeps him down. He has incredible defensive abilities, being able to face off against upper rank 3 for a prolonged period of time, and then go toe-to-toe with Muzan. However, despite his complete lack of flaws or faults, he's simply outclassed in terms of everything that he does excel at by the other pillars, neither having the strength, endurance, speed, or defense at any particularly high level compared to the rest of them. Alright, he might be the strongest defensively overall, but it's not enough to put him any higher on the list. My favorite boy. I did you dirty. He's probably my favorite of the Hashira, but, man, this is as high as he can get. He was shown to struggle against Akaza, and that was with the help of a significantly upgraded and powered up Tanjiro. In the fight against Muzan, he was probably the second weakest overall, getting disarmed early on, only being able to outperform the Love Pillar. He's been shown to have incredibly impressive speed and be able to save his allies mid-combat, which is an incredibly useful skill to have, especially in a teamfight situation. He's been shown to be cunning, tactical, indomitable, extremely fast, strong, and durable, but not quite to the same extent as everyone else. Number 5. Obunai Igor. Insert sneaky snake clip here. Obunai Igor is biggest upset in these rankings. When I first did this list in the initial draft, I had him ranked squarely at the bottom as the weakest of all the demon slayers. Until I thought about it and looked back and realized this kid is a monster, even stronger than best boy Giyu. The reason I've positioned him above Giyu in the ranking is he has access to a mark as well, greatly increasing his strength, but he's also able to see the transparent world, giving him a huge boost in observation, allowing him to make more precise attacks and figure out more about his opponent. Keep in mind, it was Tanjiro figuring out what his opponent was doing during his fight with Upper Moon 3 Akaza that allowed Tanjiro to eventually pull through and win that fight. Mostly win. Convince him to commit suicide, I guess. A feat that Giyu was not able to accomplish. In addition to this, he was also able to crimson his own blade, simply by holding it, whereas both the Mist Pillar and the Water Pillar were only able to accomplish this feat by clashing their blades together. In other words, they have a conditional red blade, whereas Obunai has access to his constantly. He's ranked as the weakest among the Hashira physically, ignoring the insect pillar of course, but makes up for this with his mark, as it fills in his weaknesses, as opposed to the Love Pillar. He's also been shown to have pretty incredible endurance and recovery time, being the first of the Hashira to recover after their fight with Muzan and assist Tanjiro in his continued fight against him. His right eye is damaged, but he's been able to cover this weakness using a snake. I'm pretty confident it has a name in canon, but I'm not looking it up. By communicating with Kaburamaru, he's able to gain more sensory data. So much so, in fact, even when he was completely blinded near the end of the series, he was able to still attack and keep up with Muzan, simply using only the snake. On top of his endurance, his mark, his strength, his red blade, he's also been shown to be able to cover every weakness he's ever developed, from his right eye to his lack of physical strength, He's an incredibly talented fighter and one of the most powerful pillars. Number 4, Kyojiro Rengoku. Should he be ranked number 4? Maybe he should be number 5. Who's to say? I put him here for a few reasons, but I could easily see him swapping places with the previous entry. They're pretty close in power. Rengoku has a ton of crazy feats to his name. First of all, at the moment of his death, the previous entry was shocked to find out that he has died, saying he can't believe that he died against Upper Moon 3, showing that even among the pillars he was considered one of the more powerful. He took on Upper Moon 3 on his own with no assistance and was able to go toe-to-toe with him for a prolonged period of time, even basically beating him. Out of the fight, he did end up dying, but he got everything he wanted, as opposed to Upper Rank 3 who got absolutely nothing that he wanted out of the fight, neither turning him to a demon nor killing anyone, and being forced to run away in the end. This is a feat that couldn't be accomplished even by a marked Gyu and a significantly powered up Tanjiro, both of which were shown to struggle immensely against Akaza. Admittedly, part of this has to do with the fact that Rengoku had the sun rising to help him out, something that couldn't be done in the super-dimensional fortress, but the fact he fared as well as he did against such a powerful opponent for so long really is a testament to his strength. During the Mugen Train incident, he was able to protect 5 train cars simultaneously from Lower Moon 1, and when the train crashed, by unleashing a flurry of techniques he was able to minimize all casualties. The result was no one died during that incident of the 200 people that had been taken hostage. Keep in mind, it took Zenitsu and Nezuko to cover 3 cards between the two of them, and they were tired and injured by the end of this fight, whereas Rengoku seemed to be unharmed and was able to go toe-to-toe with Akaza. All of this being accomplished with no mark, no red sword, and he has displayed the ability to see the transparent world, even if only briefly, and that's without a mark at all. If he had lived, it's almost certain that he would have been able to earn a mark, a red blade, and see the transparent world. If he had accomplished all of these feats, I would likely rank him as the second strongest of all the pillars. No, maybe tied for second strongest. Well, the top 5 and the bottom 4 are all pretty easy. Who goes where in the top 5 and who goes where in the bottom 4 is pretty debatable. I still think Rengoku ultimately has more utility, as he's been able to protect massive amounts of people simultaneously, deal incredible damage, have incredible strength, endurance, and overall is one of the most skilled fighters the pillars have, allowing him to just edge out in more usefulness compared to the previous entry. Number 3. Moichiro Tokido, Mr. Tokido. To begin with, he possesses a number of the qualities that made the other entries so powerful. He has a Demon Slayer mark, he can view the transparent world, and he can use a Crimson Nichirin blade. He's also the youngest of the pillars, coming in at only 14 years old, considered a genius by most of the others. He's here for 2 reasons, the first being he was able to take out an Upper Moon single-handedly, and when he did so, it didn't seem to exhaust him or take much of it at all, mostly just one-shotting him, that being Upper Moon 5. A feat so unbelievable that even the narrator comments that this is an unnatural occurrence. After that, he goes on to go toe-to-toe with Upper Moon 1, where he gets absolutely massacred start to finish, doesn't even lay a scratch on the guy, but honestly, who could? But once some assistance shows up in the forms of the Wind Pillar and the Rock Pillar, he's able to put in some great effort and get in some serious blows against him, getting in what would turn out to be a lethal blow in the long run, and holding him down while the other pillars could do some more work. This kid's level of power is absolutely monstrous, being descended from the very first breath user, being the youngest, having the most talent out of any of the Hashira. He's fast, he's strong, he has a protective streak once he gains his memories again, and is able to put in amazing work in a team fight. He has everything you need to make for an incredibly useful Hashira, with all of this taking place only 2 years after he picked up a sword for the first time. Number 2. Sanami Shinazugawa. Christ, I've never had to pronounce these names before. I just read them. It's kind of like a glyph, just a picture of random letters. I didn't know you could actually say them. Sanami, along with the Earth Pillar, are stated to be some of the strongest members of the Hashira, even among the pillars, by Upper Moon 1 Kokoshibo. He possesses incredible speed, strength, and endurance. He has a Demon Slayer mark, as well as a Crimson Nichirin blade, though he was never shown to be able to view the transparent world. But in truth, he doesn't really need to at this point either. He possesses incredibly intoxicating blood due to his rare blood type that causes demons to get drunk just by smelling it. The result is he's functionally a massive debuff for every demon within his radius, causing them to make poor choices and mistakes. A massively useful ability for anyone to have in a team fight, or one-on-one. He's extremely fast, extremely strong, has been shown to have an incredible ability with improvised weapons, using both his younger brother's gun as well as firebombs during his fight with Muzan, and has been shown to be able to sustain multiple lethal wounds and still keep fighting without dropping nothing dead. It's even stated by Upper Moon 1 that the wounds he inflicted on him should have been lethal for anyone else, but the Wind Pillar, using mostly just spite and hatred, is able to functionally stitch himself back together and just keep going. Even at the very end of the series, when nearly every pillar succumbs to their injuries, he just sticks around like a raccoon or a rash. Using swords? Should have been using creams. He's even been shown to be able to keep fighting, even while unconscious, Rock Lee style. All of his abilities, the ability to survive lethal wounds, attack incredibly fast, use a Demon Slayer mark and a Crimson Blade, all would have put him high up on the list, but what really clinched this position for him and put him ahead of the rest of the Demon Slayers was this weird blood ability of his. Being able to passively debuff every demon around him is just broken, and secured a spot as number 2. The long-awaited moment. Number 1. Come on, was there really any question? It's Gyomei Himojima. God, I've probably butchered all of these names. Only just realizing I've been calling him the Earth Pillar when he's the Rock Pillar. I'm all kinds of smart. Thankfully, for once, we have an uncontentious answer, and a pretty easy one at that. Gyomei is clearly the strongest of the pillars. He's been acknowledged as such by nearly all of them. He's by far the strongest physically and the largest, due to the fact he is significantly older than the rest of the pillars, being nearly twice the age of the Mist Pillar. He's been shown to use a Demon Slayer mark, be able to view the Crimson World. He can view the Transparent World and summon a Crimson Blade, or in his case, Crimson Axe and Spike Ball. He's been shown to have amazing speed, physical strength, offense, defense. He has an amazing ability to protect his allies. During their fight with Upper Moon 1 Kokushibo, he even had to step in and protect the Wind Pillar on several occasions, and was shown to be able to do so without breaking his stride or his attacks. Perhaps if they had lived long enough, the Mist Pillar or the Fire Pillar might have been able to surpass him, or even the Wind or Water Pillar, if there had been any cause to keep fighting. But by the end of the series, it was clear he is potentially the strongest pillar that had lived and that we had seen the entire series. Alright, that's all of them. Oh my god, this took forever. Oh well, it was fun.